and they have registered dietitians in every store, and they're going to come in and do meal prep, healthy meal prep in our offices, and then everybody can take them home and have freezer meals. So.
Those are just great ideas. Did everybody write those down? I mean, those are great ideas. So I want you to think about the format of your worksite wellness program, and she brought up a lot of it. First of all, you need to have leadership buy-in. That's really important. If you don't, you'll be swimming upstream. You need to have a wellness committee, so you're not doing it alone, and it will sustain your work. Because you all probably have a worksite wellness champion, but you need more than a champion, and that person needs support. Then she mentioned doing a survey, so an interest survey. What are your employees interested in doing? Because that will keep them engaged, especially if you do what they ask you to do. If you really look at the results, you have to communicate all of this too with your employees and let them know, we need your input, we want your input, and this is what your input was, and now this is the program we're going to have. Then you need to set goals. It's best to have a vision statement so you know where you're going, and then you implement your goals, and don't have a million goals, just have a few so that you can be successful. And then you want to evaluate, and then you can start all over again and the next year. And it can be like you just have 2 or 3 goals a year.
I would also like to add, so 4 years ago was our first year on the SHIP program, so that's the year that's very intense. You have a lot more meetings and you have a set budget for the year. But every successive year, we're invited to join the current year first timers. And whatever money they don't spend, we can use on another project. And part of those meetings is everybody shares what they're doing at their place. So we have schools in there, we have Hy-Vee store people in there, we have a clinic staff in there. There's all different businesses from Mankato in there, so you get lots of ideas if you go to one of those worksite wellness meetings as well.
Great. I'm going to pass it down so we can hear from somebody else. And first of all, how many of you have a healthy snack station? Okay, that's one thing you could start at. And you know what? You can purchase it through Amazon. They have some healthy snack stations. If you go on there and look at it, and then you can just have it delivered right to your place. It's not fruits and veggies, but it's other things that maybe don't have as much calories and a lot of nuts and granola bars and that kind of thing. Can I pass it to you?
Hi, I'm Stacy Headley with Region 5 Development Commission. Thank you for coming and welcome to the region. So we recently started a volunteer time policy, I guess. Something that might be interesting for you to know is in 2018, independentsector.org released the latest value of a volunteer's time in Minnesota at $28.15 an hour. So just keep that in the back of your head. So our volunteer time policy states, R5DC encourages their employees to find a cause meaningful to them and will pay the employee to volunteer for that cause. Employees will receive 4 hours per pay period for a total of 8 hours per month. Employees will denote proper code on timesheet, and the time volunteered will not be counted towards overtime. So some of the ways that some of our employees have already been engaged is donating blood and reading at your child's school. Some other ideas that are out there that we haven't been able to utilize yet, but are just ideas at your food shelf or the soup kitchen, building homes at Habitat for Humanity, various civic organizations, animal shelters, kinship partners, Relay for Life, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, any of that.
Wow, that is perfect. That is such a great worksite wellness strategy, and how many of you thought that was worksite wellness strategy? That is, yay, somebody raised their hand, yay. And you can even communicate it as part of our worksite wellness strategy. as part of our Worksite Wellness team, we're making these opportunities available to you. And I am really going to put in some of the work I do in our region has to do with trauma-sensitive schools and ACEs, and if you can be a kinship mentor at all, you will make a difference in a child's life, and that, I'm going to put a plug in for that right now. I also used to work for Habitat for Humanity, and I know how important it is in some of our small towns, like Fergus Falls, for instance, we hardly have any volunteers. And so, God, a team of people showing up one day, that can make a huge difference. So, great, great addition. How many of you volunteer at any of these places? Great. And does your workplace encourage you to do that? So take this back to your leaders and say, if Region 5 can do this, certainly we can do it, right? Right? Okay, can I pass to you?
Well, I wasn't in my chair on time because I was out walking on our lunch break and missed coming in here on time, but good excuse, right? We have a couple of things that we do. We do allow staff time off if you go and give blood. So blood donation time off is on us. We also do we have sit to stand office desks available, and if new staff come in, if they request that, they can get that. We do currently provide a match on the gym membership, just like the insurance programs do. So we offer an additional $10 per month, only for the employee though, not for an additional spouse like some of the insurance policies do. Although, if you've gotten notice from your insurance companies, you'll know that that is ending at the end of this year because of some tax rules and changes and some studies that they have done stating that they have found that it really isn't the big game changer that they thought it was. And I think that's, the other thing that I wanted to mention is we have a flexible work schedule. We can come in and start, if you're a morning person, you can start as early as 6:45 in the morning and you're done at 3:30. If you're kind of a person that likes to sleep in the morning, you can start at 9 and then you're done at 6. So we get that core hours from 9 to 3:30. So that's kind of nice.
Great ideas. Who else has flex benefit or flex time? Flex time. Okay, that really has become important. If we really want to think about life balance, I think that really is key. And so if you don't have that, that'd be another suggestion you can take back to your leadership. Can I pass to you?
I'm Kathy from Region 8. This summer we started summer hours, so you work your hours and you're off at 2:30 on Fridays. So that was kind of cool because our reception area, we have another organization in our building, so we're stuck there the whole time they're open. So we did summer hours, you work your hours, and then our receptionist could be off at 2:30 on Fridays, and that was really kind of cool. And then, of course, everybody else is off on Fridays, so you were the only one in the building on Fridays. So now we got that to be able to do that, so that's awesome. We do have some sit-to-stand workstations. Every year we do a staff retreat, so our whole staff leaves the building for the day. We have a speaker, we've got team building, strength finders, generational differences speakers, strategic planning, and then we try to incorporate the last couple of years a fun activity with that. So we went golfing together on a par 3 course, just for fun, didn't really keep score. We also went to the Pipestone National Monument in the afternoon. It was a beautiful day. We got to spend out in nature, so that was kind of refreshing for everybody. We've done potlucks, exercise challenges. We've had a financial speaker come in to kind of talk about what to do to get ready for retirement. We have staff activities during the year. It might be just going to the park, have potluck, play some games for a couple hours, just to get out of the office and spend some time together. Our boss's wife has a flourless bakery, so we got to go check out her bakery and make some things and have some samples. So, you know, most people have no idea that exists, so that was really cool to see. We typically do a Christmas party with our spouses or significant others, so gets us out of the office and kind of gets you to talk to other people and their families and stuff. And we also implemented a sunshine fund, so we kind of take care of people if they have a graduation in their family, or they have a baby, or they're in the hospital, or weddings. And so we kind of just acknowledge what's going on in people's lives, and so our committee takes care of that. So I think that's about all we do. We have a water cooler, so office space for that, so you can have all the water you want.
So don't you want to work there? That's fun, fun, fun. That's what worksite wellness should be. It's also fun. So don't make it like, don't be the dessert police, and don't be like, oh my gosh, you're sitting at your desk too long. But you can be a role model. You can set, one easy thing is you can set your alarm on your phone to get you up and stretch. Or take a walking meeting with somebody instead, and it'll be interesting. Let's say you take 15 minutes. You'll get done with your topic in 15 minutes then too. So ask your boss, can we go on a walking meeting? I have this topic I really need to cover. Jill, do you want to talk a little bit about what you do at West Central? Because they do something with bikes.
We have been designated a bike-friendly business thanks to Wayne's leadership, so give a wave, Wayne. Come on, you can do it. It's pretty darn awesome. One of the things that happened before I was at the agency was a bike became part of our regular fleet. So if you have a meeting that you can bike to, you can take the company bike to do so. It's also available for break time, so if you want to take the mile bike around the neighborhood, you can do that. And right now our building is under construction because we're adding a bathroom, so that if you want to bike to work, you can get there, shower, make sure your work presentable, and head to work. So we are really excited to see that happen. It's scheduled for December, so it should be ready for next season for me. I don't bike in the winter, but you can. Wayne would be mad if I didn't say you can. You can bike in the winter. One of the other things we did this year that was really fun was to improve our diversity and cultural competency, we started doing movie lunches where we'd show a movie that was from another culture or featured prominently a lifestyle that we're not exposed to on a regular basis. So on Friday afternoons over lunch, we all sit down and watch this really fun movie together. So it was a nice way to build staff. It's a nice way to build our, like I said, cultural competency, and it's provoked a lot of conversations that you wouldn't think you would have in a work site. So if you're ever interested in that, we can provide you the list of movies we've watched so far. I'm trying to think of the other one we really have liked is Wellness Bingo. So quarterly we have a calendar and you check off the different activities. And it's a variety of activities, hopefully so that all of our staff can participate. The last calendar had things like bike 1 mile more than you would normally, walk on your break, take 5 deep breaths. It's just a really large variety. We have a couple of folks who can't have gluten, so we had on the square have a gluten-free day, which for me was like, wow, this is really hard. How do you do this every day? And provide some good conversation that way too. And we had a block party, so to build rapport in the neighborhood. We live on kind of a funny street with restaurants and hotels and some apartment buildings, but we don't have that same sense of community that a downtown district would have or an office space would have. So we had a block party and invited all of our neighbors to come, and it was an awesome evening. It was, I think we said 150 people came. And now you see a lot more just those friendly activities. You smile and wave. People stopped into our office to chat with us. It was just a really fun activity.
These are all really great ideas. If you have any that you haven't heard that you think we would all benefit from, I would sure appreciate that you just yell them out. And I am going to go through some slides because we have plenty of time. But in the meantime, is there anybody did any of this, well, the ideas are great, everybody's like writing down these great ideas.
And maybe, we kind of warned people that we wanted to hear some ideas from each RDO, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. There's 4 of us that are left, 5 of us that are left.
Should we,
Yeah, can we?
At Headwaters, we received a SHIP grant a couple years back, and we spent the money on some kitchen equipment. I think you guys gotta help me out. There's a crock pot and some really great knives and some storage containers and really nice blender. And we had some seed money to start a little office store, AKA a snack station. And that went really well for a while, and we had the person who was leading the cause left, and it's been a little bit of a challenge to have somebody step up and take it over, make sure that the store is always filled with those healthy snacks. So I love all of these ideas, and I'm hoping, particularly the shower, right, for the biking. I would love to be a bike-friendly business. So Tim's in here somewhere, there. Write it down.
And that is the problem, oftentimes, one of the biggest challenges with worksite wellness is how do you sustain it? And so that's why I encourage you to have a committee and even have a structure in place where you have a president or a chair, a vice president, so that person will move into that. So that, and then you want fresh ideas, so you don't want that person, like Clay County, Otter Tail County, Janet retired, and she'd been the committee chair for 10 years. Oh my goodness. Then she retires on us. So now what are we going to do? So they do have somebody that took place, but she hadn't been sort of groomed, so she had to sort of come up with fresh ideas. So that's the whole purpose of this today, is to keep giving us fresh ideas, energized ideas, to think beyond the typical. I'm going to talk a little bit about self-care, and then we can see if there's somebody else that wants to. I work with an initiative called the People Project, and we focus on practices around kindness, gratitude, finding your flow, connections, and values. And there's a lot of research, positive psychology research. Martin Seligman wrote a book called Flourish. It's a boring book, but it's got some really great stuff in it. And if you do those practices around positive emotion, relationships, meaningfulness, recognition, you can flourish. And so we're working with businesses to learn how to practice kindness. I mean, do we have to practice it? Come on. But in this day and age, we pretty much do have to practice it. Gratitude, writing down 3 good things every night before you go to bed. And really thinking, why were those my 3 good things? And writing them, physically writing them, or entering them into an app. But make sure you do that physical part of it too. So that's a gratitude. Finding your flow. This was really hard for all of us. When are we in our flow? What does flow mean? Flow isn't sitting down at Netflix and, oh my goodness, I'm just vegging out. That isn't flow. Flow is where your skill matches a challenge. And I'll give you the best example I have from a young man named Michael Sullivan, who works at Myriad Mobile in Fargo. He had some mental health issues when he was young. He looks like a baby, so I'm wondering how young he was when he was having these mental health issues. But he learned early on that to be happier and to help him with his mental health issues, he had to figure out how to get in the flow. He is now a coder, so they make apps, and he codes all day long, and he says, I am a person who is in my flow 5 hours a day. He's the only person I know that's in her flow 5 hours a day. But he has loved this initiative. One of the things he did, he's the leader of it at his company, is, I don't know if anybody knows what a Slack channel is, but it's kind of like sort of like a Facebook page in a way. So what he did is that he would come, when they were doing the gratitude part, he would start the day with saying what he was grateful for, and then he would tag, you're it. He would find somebody else and ask them what they were grateful for, and then that person the next day would tag somebody else. So that just created a movement inside of his business around gratitude. Connections, I think that's the most important thing. Connections, an example would be giving somebody the gift of time or giving somebody the gift of listening and really actively listening. Trust, building trust with someone, that really is a great connection. So those are just some examples of that. And now values, we're just working with the businesses on values. And what you try to do is you try to determine what your top 2 to 3 values are, and then you try to figure out why they are your values, and that you are really putting them out there in front of you all day long, every day, and living your values. And not goals, those aren't goals. Goals might be, well, they gave this example of 2 kids riding in a car, and one is goal-oriented and the other one is values. So the goal kid is they're going to Disneyland, and all he can think about is, when are we going to get there, when are we going to get there, when are we going to get there? The values kid, he has values of, I can't remember, creativity and curiosity, and so along the way he's looking out the window and he's watching the cows and he's having a great time on the way there. So he's living in his values where his brother was living in his goals. So those are some examples of just another way to look at worksite wellness. And hopefully if you practice these as a worksite, you'll flourish. And then you'll take it home. Some of the stories we're hearing is that somebody took a gratitude jar idea home to their family, and they came back and said their family was at a sort of a sad place, and this gratitude jar really made the difference for their family life and made them think about, because they would put whatever they're grateful for in the jar, like on a piece of paper, and then they would pull it out at supper time and read it. So there's just some other, hopefully life-changing ideas, I don't know, we'll see. So what other region haven't we heard from?
Hi, I'm Laura Osley, and I'm with the Upper Minnesota Valley Regional Development Commission. And 3 other examples from our office that I hadn't heard yet that I'd like to just share is, one of them, we are part of a weekly produce subscription, and so we get a box of produce from a local farmer that comes into our office, and it allows us to try different vegetables that we've maybe never seen before. We don't know how to utilize them within recipes, so it comes with a description along with some different recipes. So sometimes we make them right in the office, otherwise we can bring them home and share them with our family as well. Another one is our local ship agency has what they call tokens for tomatoes. And so what they do is they work with the local farmers markets in our 5-county region. And we've had different challenges in our office, such as like the bingos and things like that. And you can earn those tokens for tomatoes, and you can take it to your local farmers market and utilize right there for fresh produce or whatever else you'd like to use at the farmers markets. And then the last one that I'd like to share that we've really enjoyed is annually we have an hour-long massage for all of our staff within our office. And it's been fabulous.
Laura,
Yeah?
how about our garden talks outside?
Oh, yes. So we also have, we also have garden pots outside of our office that we have cherry tomatoes, different herbs. What other veggies do we have in there, Ron?
Cucumbers.
Yes. So you can, as you walk by, you can grab some. You can utilize, put them on your lunch during the day. We also purchased a rain barrel, so we're able to utilize that source as well to water our plants.
Those are great. You guys are all doing great things. In seeing what worksite wellness, I mean, already we're expanding our understanding of worksite wellness, and we're increasing our ideas so that we can engage each other in more of this kind of activity. Who else would like to talk from a region that we haven't heard from? I haven't kept track of what regions. Oh, good.
And I really always love following, Upper Minnesota. It's just really nice to be there. Anyway, some of the things that we do is a lot of what other people have done is the flex time. We are pretty family oriented. Being able to work at home if you have a sick child, of course you're not going to work all day, but maybe you can get a couple hours in and you're not worried about running to the office. We have a wellness committee who is, actually, we're kind of hoping, we're gonna be starting some pretty exciting things, so we'll see what's gonna come of that. We're doing a wellness newsletter right now. We do have the stand-up desks, the water coolers. We've been very much into the straight finders, doing a lot of healing in our office that way. And lead donations, I know others of you have done that, but being able to do some of this lead donations, and we have people who have gone in for surgeries or some big things, really makes a big difference in people's lives. You know, we want them healthy, but sometimes life does get in the way, and then we can help them out with that, so.
Great. Is it,
And Cam does send out now these Friday letters that we all just wait to hear what can he possibly come up with now. And believe me, he always is able to.
that's a really good point about the newsletter, or however you do it, a bulletin board or whatever, but the Forum Printing Company in Detroit Lakes, one of their, so more than half their employees are on what I consider sort of like a manufacturing line as they're printing things. And one of the men on the manufacturing line lost weight and quit smoking. And so I said to the wellness committee, do a newsletter story if he's willing, and put that story of his weight loss and of his quitting smoking in the newsletter, because if most of your company is on the manufacturing line, and typically they're a group of people that might not participate in worksite wellness, they'll say, well, if he can do it, we could do it too. So you'll want to have those human stories. Minnesota State University Moorhead, they put out a monthly wellness newsletter September through April, and they always feature somebody from the different teams on the campus doing something that is worksite wellness related. So that's a really good idea too, bringing up that. Is there somebody else who hasn't, another region that maybe hasn't, or did we get all the regions? Or even if you have already, if you have something new to add to the discussion? I'm gonna go up here. We can stop at any time, but I'm just gonna run through some ideas pretty quickly in this presentation. Okay, so we talked about wellness newsletters. Here's a wellness bulletin board. So if you haven't, and you can also make this a gratitude board. Lakes Country Service Cooperative just has it written, what are you grateful for? And so they have their, that's what they do with their bulletin board. And wellness internet page, wellness library, Concordia College put together a wellness library which includes DVDs and books and also equipment you can check out. So you could have a little equipment box at your place, or Stone Ridge Software in Barnesville, they actually put a locker in their space and they put like frisbees and golf disc and just all kinds of things in rubber bands and weights in that locker that they could go use at any time. Brochures, especially like if you really want to dig deep into worksite wellness, you'll want to look at some data. And some of that data is what you get from your health insurance provider. They can let you know, even if you're a small staff, they can let you know, let's say you have a high rate of diabetes, or you have, I'll give the example of Breckenridge Schools, okay? They probably have 200 employees. 3 of them had heart attacks 1 year. So what they decided to provide is money to have anybody who wanted to go have a heart risk test on their staff that year. And then they had money left over from their Lakes Country Service Cooperative, so then they extended that into another year. So brochures could be, this is what heart disease made me think of, is that if you find that, or if you even just know, because you're smaller staffs, probably you might know what some of your health risks are. Midwest Bank in Dalton, they had, a lot of their employees were having foot issues. And so they asked me to help them find a podiatrist who could come in and talk about how to have foot health. employee starts, it's good to let them know that you have a worksite wellness program and what that entails. I talked about testimonial and healthy selfies display. Somebody, I think, talked about that, taking pictures of them doing healthy things, I'm not sure. One of the things, Family Health Care in Fargo, they, for Valentine's Day, I don't know why they picked Valentine's Day, but you could go take a selfie with their CFO, COO, or CEO. And so those three, and they happen to all be gentlemen, those three gentlemen made themselves available so people could come into their office all day long and could take a picture with all of the rest of the staff, and then at their recognition event, they showed these pictures. And it gave a chance for those three gentlemen to get to know their staff better too. Local maps for biking and walking, a poster campaign, victory display board. You can see, here's somebody lost weight, lost my first 10 pounds. You could make your board about anything. Promote community events, this is a really good one. So, and it goes along with your 1, 2, 3 down. So like, you know, if there's a Relay for Life and your business wants to participate, like let's say you have somebody on your staff who has cancer, that's a wonderful way to support. Our director, not long ago, died from pancreatic cancer. So we tried to get a team together to go on the pancreatic cancer walk. So there are things like that that you could support, and that could be part of your wellness program. There's National Health Observances calendars. Healthfinder.gov is a great resource for lots of different things. So they have toolkits for all kinds of health things, but they also will tell you like November is Diabetes Awareness Month and those kinds of things. Spruce up your environment with spring cleaning. How many of your offices look like this? Let's say none, right? So consider that a spring cleaning day could be a worksite wellness day, or maybe just take half a day or a couple hours and say, okay, everybody, we're going to clean our office today. Bicycle rodeo and tune-up day. Do you get involved with the bike rodeo, Wayne? So a lot of our communities have bike rodeos. So that could be something you could support, or you could participate in or volunteer for. Service projects, we talked about that. Healthy cooking demo, some of you have done that. OSPTI, it's a physical therapy company out of Breckenridge. Breckenridge is next to Wapaton. Wapaton has a college. They had a chef who teaches chef school, I don't know, culinary arts, come into their business. Well, first of all, he took them to the farmer's market. They all purchased things, and then he brought them back and did a cooking demo. Picnic in the park, somebody at the end, you talked about some of these things. Those are all wellness things. And make sure you have some healthy options at your picnic in the park. Water is always good, maybe watermelon, maybe corn on the cob. Make sure you just always have a healthy option, but the whole menu doesn't need to be. Bowling night, field trips, I haven't heard some of that. Winter sports, we have Detroit Lakes, and then down near Alexandria too are some ski resorts. Your business could buy a family ski pass and then make that available that people can check out for a weekend for their family. Introduction to bird watching, salad bar or healthy potato bar. EAP, do you all have EAPs? And are they all the same EAPs since maybe you're all part of an association? I don't know that. We have, the businesses that I work with have a number of different kinds of EAPs. So they're employee assistance programs. So if you have any kind of, problems, maybe I'll say, I've used the EAP, so I'll go. So let's say you're not getting along with the boss. Sorry. I know. And you want to go and talk to somebody about it, but you don't really want to stir up the pot at your business because you don't really want to do that. I mean, sometimes we think we want to get, okay, did you know that my boss is making me do this? Oh my God, can you even believe that? No, that's not good. That's not good for your office. So what you should do is you should use your EAP and go talk to them about your boss. And then maybe get some strategies on how to do that. In fact, I call that throwing people under the bus, or it's a vault. It's kind of this vault thing where you're not trust. You know, you think you're friends because I came to you and told you all about this and we're friends. No, he's just my buddy and bad karma. That isn't what you want to do in your office. And I wish I would have learned that a lot earlier. Anyway, another, you know, if you're having issues in your marriage or issues with your kids or just even health issues and you just want to talk to somebody because emotionally it's so tough, whatever your health issue is, you can use your EAP. So you want to promote that in your businesses too. Juggling lessons, oh, doesn't that sound fun? Humor Fest, you could do something like that. Blood pressure checks, you can just even make equipment available at your office. Office Olympics, now we all look like that, right? Some of these things you can just Google and get some ideas how to do it. Random Acts of Kindness Week, that's in February. Employee Art Show, you could do something like that, or an employee show and tell, employee craft show, hobby fair. I don't know if anybody knows what Movember is, but it's an annual event involving the growing of mustaches during the month of November to raise awareness of men's health issues, such as prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and men's suicide. So you can even Google Movember and find some ideas there. And some Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Dakota always celebrates this. So I know there are some businesses out there that do things around this. Host or take a trip to a farmer's market. On-site fitness classes, now maybe you don't do that, but let's say, like I'm a big Zumba person, even though I don't feel like I could teach Zumba, I could put on the video that I use, I could bring it to work and we could all do Zumba. Will you want to do that, Sandy, with me? Okay. I'll bring it to a West Central Initiative and we'll all do Zumba one day. How's that? The morning stretch. There are businesses that really take this seriously, especially on manufacturing lines or people who end up in trucks all day. Wilkin County, their highway department, they do a stretch every day. They also all got a little packet of rubber band stretch things. And then they had somebody from the OSPTI, which is the physical therapy company, come in and show them. Another place is Stone L in Fergus Falls. They just put up posters, but they do have an organized stretch every morning. Weight Watchers at work, mindfulness training, stair climbing challenge. I don't know how many of you have stairs. I know West Central Initiative doesn't have any stairs that I know of. Fitness challenge of the month. Tobacco cessation support right now, we're really focused on, in the world of SHIP, the Statewide Health Improvement Partnership is on vaping, especially our youth, and we work with schools on trying to decrease vaping. It's really a terrible epidemic, and so you want to make sure that all of your tobacco-free policies have something in there about vaping. Because I learned yesterday, I think it was yesterday, that in one school district, 15% of the kids are getting their vaping materials from their parents. In fact, 70% of the kids statewide are getting it from someone else. They are not buying it online. I thought that was going to be the highest percentage, but 10% statewide are buying their vaping materials online. We talked about this healthy snack station, cafeteria, or vending. If you have a vending machine, make sure that, do an overhaul and ask your vending company to come in and help you. Make all of the healthy choices at eye level and maybe make those cheaper, then still keep some of the candy bars and things in there. What we went to at Otter Tail County is that we had 16-ounce pops. Now we made everything 12 ounces. So we worked with our vending company to do that. Here's the CSA drop site and workplace gardens that people have talked about. Some physical activity, we talked about the bike bike that you have. We just now in Fergus Falls, we learned of this bike initiative that we can purchase bikes that are similar to those bike shares for it's really 140, but we're gonna give the guy that's gonna go pick them up a few dollars for going to pick them up. But so we're gonna have these really nice bikes that we're offering all of the businesses that we work with for $150. Mother's rooms are very important. A lot of places are going to because they maybe don't have a lot of moms that are nursing moms, so they're using those also for quiet rooms so that people check them out, but they have a policy or a system in place, a procedure in place where the mothers get first choice, but then if it's not being used, that they can use it for a quiet room. This just gives you employee appreciation events, holiday traditions. We talked about on-site massage, ping pong tables. I don't know if you have room for any of those. I talked a little bit about setting your alarm, sit for 60, move for 3 right here. So like you're sitting for 60 minutes, then make sure you move for 3 minutes. Maybe 5 would be better. Okay, that's all I have for ideas. The other thing on that slide anyway, I'm going to shut that. The other thing is I wanted to talk a little bit about incentives. Of course we want this all to be intrinsic instead of, but you know, we're human. But here's some data. HealthStream Research conducted a study with more than 200,000 participants and found that the #1 factor that plays into employee engagement and retention is the manager's ability to provide purposeful recognition. So if you are a manager, think about that. You can make a difference in your employees' lives just by giving them purposeful recognition, like not just, gee, you did a great job, but boy, I really liked that report you did. This part that I really liked about it is the data that really is going to move the needle on this project that we're working on. That is purposeful recognition. And then also, it's good to recognize in front of you their other employees. Let's lift everybody up. I mean, sometimes people do, you have to know your office culture. All of this is about knowing your office culture. Some things are going to work and other things are not going to work. So you don't want to make other people feel jealous, but you want to do it in such a way that you bring everybody up. Lack of appreciation, especially from immediate supervisor, is the #1 reason why people leave a job, not money. So look within the organization for perks such as a preferred parking space, free lunch at the facility, maybe break face time with the CEO, CFO, manager, that kind of thing. Celebrate staff at a meeting or recognition event or newsletter article. Have a roving trophy. We worked with Sanford, their education and HR department, and every Friday they would do fun little things just for 10 minutes. It might be Sudoku, it could be like they were doing push-ups against the wall, and see who could do the most, and so they had this little stupid roving trophy that everybody loved though. So that really is something that's very simple. Everyone contributes $5 to the pot for a 5-week challenger, and winner gets the pot. So all of these are like things that maybe you thought, oh God, I have to go out and buy an iPad, and we have to give this away to somebody. No, you can do some things like this. Dollar store has ribbons, trinkets, fun balls, hula hoops, things like that you could give away. Now this one is going to have a little bit more cost to it, but I know Midwest Bank did this. They gave away a half day of PTO if people would complete their health risk assessment and then attend a coaching session with a dietitian. Because you don't have to be overweight or underweight to go see a dietitian. We can all learn something about nutrition from a dietitian. Basket of fruit or other healthy food items. The other thing that Midwest Bank does, now granted it's a bank and they have money, hello, but once a week on Wednesdays, they have either a big plate of fruit or a big plate of vegetables. A gift certificate to Farmers Market, a gift certificate to a local physical activity destination. Oh, something that you said, one of you said about, which is so true, is the research around the people that go to exercise 12 days a month go there whether you have the incentive or not, for the most part. It's changed the needle in so few people. So that's why they've learned that they need to do something different. Maybe they need to invest in Fitbits for everybody, or just some other thing that really impacts more people. Pay for a health screening at a clinic, make it optional. Pay for an entrance fee for something like the Fargo Marathon or some other similar events. Healthy restaurant gift certificates. So just wanted, this is a handout that we're going to hand out. Some other fun ideas that were on the other side of this is a snowman building contest. That to me sounds really fun, but if you don't like going outside, it's not going to be that much fun. But I just think, what another interesting idea. Flu shots, consider that part of your wellness committee. If you can bring those in, or just encourage everybody to get their flu shot. See what's on your own staff, what they can teach or what they want to teach. Have a book club, that's another thing. It doesn't all have to be about being physically fit and eating healthy. Fit plan desk calendars, a digital scale that also measures BMIs. Sometimes we don't want that. I think we pretty much everything, writing thank you notes. Sit down, your whole staff, write thank you notes to either your clients, your customers, your funders. I mean, yeah, you have your development person that does that, but why doesn't everybody do that? Or right now, everybody take out your phone and text somebody and tell them that you're thankful for something, right now. And then see if you get one back. Oh, maybe we're not supposed to have phones here?
I made a rule.
Okay, never mind. Never mind, sorry. That is really good. Thank you, Kim, for that. Because they've always been listening to us, to all of us. Now that I've been talking a lot, is there anybody else that wants to share? Let's see, what kind of time do we have? We still have some time. On this other handout that I have, so this one is about self-care, and it happens to be the West Fargo School District Administration. They came up with a whole month of events, and they basically just take 15 minutes. So the other handout is two-sided. This is just one-sided, and I asked them if I could share this with everybody. So can I get you to hand those out to everybody? So be creative, have fun. Does anybody have, well, I'll back up and talk about, as public health, best practices, again, look at your policies or procedures or guidelines that you have. See if there's ways you can support this through a wellness policy. Look at your tobacco policy. Make sure you do those things. Put systems in places. Maybe you start every staff meeting with something you're grateful for. That's a new system. A snack station, a healthy snack station is a new system. Having bikes at your place that everybody could check out, that's environmental, but your checkout system is a new system. So think about things, because that brings sustainability into your program. Again, I talked about the challenges, keeping everybody engaged, and one of the ways that you have your wellness policy be a living program is by putting a policy in place, so that once you get a policy, it's tough to change a policy. So that's why I'm encouraging you to think about a wellness policy at your office to keep, when Wayne retires, which is many years from now, many. You know, or Jill's probably even younger, I don't know, but way younger. So they're not going to retire for a while, but let's say they were of retirement age, and the program, who's going to do the program now? Well, if you have a wellness policy, somebody has to do it. So like for school districts, there is a wellness policy in place that's mandated by the USDA, and it's mandated because they get funding for lunch programs from the USDA, and they are mandated to have a wellness chair and a wellness committee and have a wellness action plan. Now, Jim and I worked on an action plan this summer. I dangled a carrot. You can have $400 if you fill out an action plan. And her action plan was awesome. And you'll always have outliers, and you'll always have champions, and you'll always have people, outliers, good and bad. You'll have early adopters, you'll have late adopters. We are human, remember that. And don't beat anybody up for any of that. And there was, at the end, fun. They have so much fun at their office, FUN. So make sure that you put a lot of that into your wellness program also. Anybody else is there ideas that has any of this spurred on other ideas that other people want to share? That we didn't cover that you just think, oh, this would be great to have besides not having your cell phone at a meeting so you're really listening to the speaker?
Well, we are running out ahead of time, so Karen, if you have some more ideas, but what I would challenge people to do if we are running ahead of schedule, break up into your teams for your office. We heard a lot of great ideas today. And why don't we spend 15 minutes sharing some ideas that we want to go back to our offices and try.
So, besides not being able to use, meet with your team, use your cell phone, don't use your cell phone, meet with your team. What else?
Teams.